the moment I met you, I was like, oh my God, this person is incredible. I want to be around that person as much as I can. We developed our relationship through non-physical, and I think that's one of the biggest gifts that any couple can have.
And we were always in very different like energy levels and having a very different kind of experience in our day because you're very different when you wake up and when you go to sleep.
Okay, I see that you're in a different headspace. Would you like to talk about, or would you like to call later, or at what time is the best for you? Because right now I can tell that you're not fully in the present moment with me. Even the little things, even if something made you feel uncomfortable, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because those little things will add up. And specifically if we cannot be together.
And I couldn't do that yet, you know, even with my own family. But then going through long distance, especially because you're someone I can trust, you know, feel comfortable being vulnerable with, I learned how to do it over the phone, which strengthened all the relationships that I have. Because the reality is, we have many long distance relationships. What would you say to someone that is going into a long distance relationship?
I would say begin by Fatima and I wanted to talk about long distance relationship because our friends often ask us like, how was your long distance? Because we did 1 year long distance and many are scared of that while we had a pretty good experience. So we wanted to share with you guys today uh, some nice insights. First of all, let's maybe give some context. If you want to begin.
Yeah, for sure. Where can we begin? I mean, I'll give a little bit of context on why I was in France and why we decided to do long distance. So in 2022, I decided to do an exchange year in France from Canada to finish my last year of studies and my undergrad studies. And so I came to a city called Grenoble in the south of France, where I met you. And when this decision started happening was actually about 4 months after we met, because I remember very, very clearly. You came to my apartment, and yeah, well, you already know, but I always had this dream of I want to become a teacher and I want to do teachers college right after my undergrad. So that whole year I spent applying to teachers colleges and I got into two of my favorites. So I remember you came over and I had this exciting thing to tell you and you were like, yeah, what is it? What is it? And I told you, yes, I have to make a decision what teachers college I wanted to go to. And I remember your reaction was kind of like excited, but also kind of like there was this realization of, oh, we're not going to be in the same place next year. Like, what is that going to look like? And it was very fresh. It was between us, it was very new. But it was, yeah, you were still a big part of my life already, you know? So I remember even for me saying it, it was kind of like,
I remember it was a tough decision for you too.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, it was definitely, we wanted to talk about it because it was very important. It was a big decision because you were living at that moment in France. But I knew also maybe this is not going to be like you staying in Grenoble forever.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to go back to Canada at some point.
Yeah, I think before that point, like we kind of had it on our mind, but it wasn't like spoken. It wasn't spoken like we were just kind of being with one another, like seeing where the flow takes us. But at that moment, it was a big realization of, oh, this is how it's gonna be now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can tell you, big part of you still really wanted me to.
Oh, definitely. I think the moment that I began asking a lot of questions to you, of like, do you really want to go? Is this something that you've been dreaming of? Like, and when you told me yes, it's really something I've since I'm little that was my dream. I really want to go there, and it would be difficult to separate for 1 year
Yeah.
or more. I don't know. At that time, we didn't really knew how long we would do long distance, but it was kind of like, oh, like that's tough. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
The moment I received it, I was like, wow, that's a big, big choice that you are making. And then I really, like after 5 minutes, I realized like, no, I really want that for you too. Like I really love you. I want the best for you. If that is what you want, like you go. Like we'll see each other.
And I remember like I had this conversation with my family too, and I was telling them like they knew about you at that point. And I was telling them like has always been important to me. I don't want like, you know, the relationship I'm in to play a role in something I've always wanted, but a deep part of me, even though it was so new, a deep part of me knew like this is already very important to me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's almost like, yeah, you don't want to like admit it because you're like, no, this is my dream, this is my, but like, you know, something is really important. You feel it deep inside you. And so, yeah, we made the decision. We kind of made the decision there. We knew that
Yeah.
next year we won't be together.
Because the thing was, I remember you had to apply like in 5 days.
I
In
had to
five
accept
days,
the offer.
yeah, you had to
the
accept.
offer.
Otherwise, you're not going. So
Yeah.
it was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, you chose to go, and I think, you know what it was also after you told me, I was like, maybe we'll do long distance. Maybe it will be a big opportunity for us to actually improve our relationship in the sense of like I feel like we're going to get even closer through the heart and through the mind without physique. So this took us then to Portugal like a week before you'll go back to
basically, yeah, it was like we
Canada.
decided to go on a trip, just the two of us, because we wanted to spend like the last week together before I leave, and that's where we had really great conversations.
Yeah, we had beautiful conversations. I would say on many subjects that are very, very, very important. I think if you want to enter a relationship, because at that time we were not having a label,
Yes.
like a label of like girlfriend, boyfriend, or it was like we have a very special relationship. We know it, we feel it, but at that time I feel like it was important for both of us to learn so much about each other before saying like we want to be with each other, because being with each other for us it means like 100%, like I'm going full in.
Yeah.
And so
like you're giving your heart fully.
yeah, exactly. Like before too, we were not seeing anyone, but like, and not thinking of anyone, I think, but it's basically like saying like I'm going to dedicate and invest into this relationship for a long period of time, and do I want to make that decision? So then in Portugal we were talking about values. What are your values? You know, is I don't know, like smoking important for you, or is spirituality important for you? Is family important for you? All these kind of things,
the non-negotiables.
and also the non-negotiables. It's basically we said like, okay, give me 3 non-negotiables, which literally if those happen, there's no negotiating. It's basically it's over. The relationship is over, because I do believe that there can be unconditional love, but in relationships it's very conditional, in the sense that I wouldn't say lose yourself in a relationship, you know, that you disagree with, like where your values are not met, where you feel disrespected. No, like as I say, you're going to lose yourself. So it's very important that you actually put healthy boundaries sometimes, that you know what your non-negotiables are, right? And so that was a big thing for us.
Yeah, that trip was I think, very, very important to establish many things before we get into a long distance relationship. And I think at that point, we hadn't realized actually how much good it could be for both of us. And I think now, looking at it from hindsight, like,
Hmm.
wow, like we know. We're kind
Yeah.
of way more aware. But at the time, for example, I was 20, and at the time I still wanted to do my studies. I wanted to experience so many things. I wanted to travel. I wanted to live with others. Like, I had 5 roommates, one bathroom.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was kind of like these experiences that, like, at 20 I really wanted to live still.
Mhm.
And I think at the same time, this relationship was so important to me. So I wanted both, and that was what made the decision. But I think even for you, if you want to share a bit, like, why it was so important for you that year,
Yeah.
kind of to have that long distance.
No, it was very important to have a long distance years because I feel like I was going through a lot of healing process after, separating from my ex relationship. And not only that, I feel like I had a many metaphysical questions, and also like seeing the world, the nature, suffering, animal cruelty, and my own responsibility in this world. I feel like I wasn't quite understanding many things,
Yeah.
what the value of a human being is, what how we can be helped. Like I was struggling with a lot of things still, also organization. And I feel like that year really helped me, give me the time and space to write about these things, focus on those, so that when we would be together, living together, then we can be fully
Yeah.
present with each other.
Because
And
I guess in your headspace, like when we met, you weren't really looking to be in a relationship. Like, it was not your priority at the time, because you had a lot of things you still wanted to kind of write about, to find answers to experience to.
yeah, definitely, like my first thought, I mean, first intention for that year, the year I met you,
Yeah.
like, was I'm going to be alone for 1 year and work on myself. But then I met you after 6 months of taking that decision. And then, like, it was so good to be around you. And, and you really helped me actually, even more to develop this healing process. And not only that, I feel like, even if we would have been friends, even if we would have stayed contact, you would have been like so important in my life. I knew at that moment, the moment I met you, I was like, oh my god, this person is incredible. I want to be around that person as much as I can, talk to her, laugh with her, uh, that she knows me better, that I know her better, because it sometimes just meet someone is like such a vibe. And the more we got to know each other, the more I was like, oh my god, like so many similarities, so
No,
many,
definitely.
so much love.
It was magnetic. Like, and when you feel magnetic, you can't just kind of let that go, because you
No,
need to go for a year. And I think
no,
that was the biggest part of, like, there was no way we were going to
no.
end it there, because it felt like it would have been so wrong,
Mhm.
to not give long distance a chance. And I think when two people feel that for each other, that's when you already have a good base, because these people are so in it, that for them long distance is just a year. It's just time, and it is going to be beautiful.
Mhm.
It's kind of like this intention of, it's going to be so, so beautiful. And I think we
Yeah.
had that mindset.
Mm.
We weren't going into it of, oh my God, like, but many of our family and friends, like, they scared us. I mean,
Yeah.
they told us. And I think that's why it's so important for us to share our experience, because many couples do go through this. And it's important to see that it works.
It's possible.
And it was honestly one of the best things that happened in our relationship.
Definitely. Yeah, it was really one of the best things because, um, as we said a bit before, like we developed our relationship through non-physical, and I think that's one of the biggest gifts that any couple can have. because it teaches you new ways how to be how to communicate with your partner non-physically, not touching them, not
Mm-hmm.
looking at them, not hearing them in real life, but really kind of uh, in the world of ideas, kind of like in the world of the soul, in the world of the hearts, that we can communicate through words, we can communicate through, talking through a screen or calling, and that really was so beautiful because we were able to touch each other non-physically, and that was really beautiful.
What would you say for you were like some of the most difficult things?
mm, of the 1 year long distance.
Yeah, in general, like just kind of to mention that it wasn't only good. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, we need to see the whole, that there were also
yeah,
difficulties. I think it's definitely related to me being someone that likes to touch uh, you,
physical touch. I
physical
mean, yeah,
touch when I'm talking to you, when I want to comfort you, when I want to, I don't know, like kiss you, specifically after a big conversation that we would have on the phone. It's just like, oh my God, I just want to hug you right now.
yeah, it's very different. Like when
Yeah.
you just wanna, cry into someone's shoulder after a conversation or like laugh in real life, it creates very different dynamic, I think.
No,
And
definitely.
both of us really are like our love language has a lot of physical touch, I think. And so I think that for both of us, that was a tricky one.
No, it was definitely a
Yeah.
tricky one. But other difficulties, mm, yeah, like waking up in the morning and the fact that you're going to sleep. It's like, and we're missing each other
Yeah.
sometimes. And it's like, oh my God, I didn't talk to you today. But I feel like we also managed to make an effort, like stay a bit longer at night in order to talk to you 30 minutes or
Yeah.
1 hour.
It was a 9-hour time zone
Yeah.
difference. And when I think about it today, I'm like, wow. Like when I would be going to sleep, you would be waking up. That's how it always was. And we were always in very different like energy levels and having a very different kind of experience in our day because you're very different when you wake up and when you go to sleep. It's kind of a whole different person almost. Like, I mean, not person, but your energy is different. Your feelings are different. You're experiencing different emotions. You're in a different headspace. Let let's mention if like maybe a more particular example. For example, I would like do my whole day, and be at the end of my day and just wanting to tell you all about it and call you, and you would be just waking up to go to work, and on your mind, I need to get catch the bus, I need to get my lunch together, I need to like do all these things and begin my day. So very different
Mm.
headspaces, very.
Yeah, like it was definitely sometimes like I wake up and I want to go to class or I want to go to work, and it's like I need to focus. I need to focus. I need to. It's almost like I'm already in the headspace of like I'm going to work. Well, for you, it's like I'm in the headspace of like I already did work. I'm going to relax right now, and then it would be like a different conversation. But still, I would say we managed. Like we
Yeah.
definitely managed that, and we would acknowledge, like, okay, I see that you're in a different headspace. Would you like to talk about, or would you like to call later, or at what time is the best for you? Because right now, I can tell that you're not fully in the present moment with me because you're in the bus, or
Yeah.
like you're going to teach in an hour to your students,
Oh
and you need
yeah,
to
that would be
concentrate.
difficult. I was doing kind of my practicum segment of my program, remember? And then you would kind of, I would be in the bus and I would have all these lesson plans flowing through my head and like, how am
Mm.
I gonna do this? And you know, it was a difficult time for me.
Yeah,
Like, it was not
definitely.
easy. And then you would call me, and I would be not fully there. It
Mm.
was tough.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like I remember my students sometimes would come into the bus, and then I'm like I don't want to be talking about my personal life. It feels weird. It feels strange.
Yeah, I know.
And I remember that, for example, that was tough, and it
Yeah.
happened for a while. Like,
Yeah, but I feel like we definitely managed that even when it was difficult like this. I think we said, okay, through message,
mm,
like the communication of like, I wasn't fully present right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can tell that it was important for you to share. I wasn't there right now.
yeah,
Uh, write to me by message what you are feeling and your whole story. I will reply to you by message, or I will read it and then we can call later on.
that's a good
Yeah,
point. We did do that a lot.
yeah, and that was really great. And I think one of the biggest things that we learned through this long distance relationship was, validating each other's emotions and listening to each other, not trying to cut each other off. It was really about, you know, I I I want to say something, but it might not be as important as listening to you right now
Yeah,
because I really care about you and I want to listen to what you're saying. And so if you are facing something difficult, it's about sometimes me just listening and validating your emotions. And sometimes it's about an action plan, almost like I think this and this and this. And if I'm analyzing well what you're trying to say to me, maybe uh, like you're feeling this right now because of other things in your life. Like I would analyze kind of all the things that you would tell me like over weeks and even like from last year that we were together or something. And then I would say like I think that this is related to that and this is related to that.
yeah.
And then it would help you, I would say.
I would compare it like to the camera lenses. Like for me, well, I always kind of say this, but like when you're in a long distance relationship, it really feels like your partner is seeing you through the bigger lens and seeing things that you share and your emotions living these things over long periods of time, but seeing the most important parts. So they're able to kind of draw out these things and connect the dots while you're kind of living in the zoomed in lens
Hmm.
because you're living an experience and not knowing why you might be feeling very overwhelmed or why you might be feeling very anxious. And because you're so into that moment that like you're not seeing everything else. So then, and I remember I would call you and you were good. You were good at like listening to me and being able to realize that no, this may be connected to this.
Hmm.
And you would help me so much with that. And that's when I realized like Kenji cares so much,
Hmm.
you know? He's listening. Like, and he's helping me recognize certain things, certain patterns, even in myself. Like sometimes I would feel like you understand me better than I do. Like and I would be like I would have no idea why I'm feeling like a certain thing and you would tell me maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. It would help me articulate it better and it showed me like wow, this human cares about me and I feel like it built a huge base for us, you know?
Yeah.
Because when someone is willing to go through all of that, you know, through the long distance, through the screens at night, through the typing like texts and through like not being able to physically touch the person, you know,
Hmm.
you realize like this person is really in it.
Hmm.
Like they care. And I swear even saying it right now, I'm like I still have those feelings in me because you showed me over a year. You showed me that,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
But it, yeah, like even when I say it, I'm like, affected our relationship like huge,
Yeah,
in a
no.
huge way.
I think it's, if I just come back to what you just said, I think that being able to listen to you and then stopping the call and then talking to you again and then stopping the call, because
Mm.
sometimes it would be only 10 minutes, sometimes it would be only 30 minutes. The fact is, I had a lot of reflection time also on what you told me,
Yeah.
because in real life sometimes it's like I will reply immediately my first thoughts, but I feel like the fact that you were telling me and that I had some times to reflect on it was able to actually connect certain dots that you were actually not seeing because you might continue to live. And it was a lot of times struggles because your life was
Yeah.
so full, you had so many activities going on that you barely had some time to actually
Yeah.
rest and take the time to
Yes,
observe.
yes, yes, yes. And when we would call, it would be like the intense emotions that I would share, or
Mm,
the things that are difficult, or the things that are so beautiful. Like, it would be kind of like these, because if not, it if I wasn't so vulnerable, it wouldn't be the same. And I think that brings
definitely.
us to another huge thing. It was
Being
like
vulnerable.
learning to be vulnerable on the phone.
Yeah.
But this skill is unbelievable.
Because also I think, uh so you told me, right, like you haven't been in a relationship before that, like you were in a relationship but it wasn't that long, you
Yeah.
weren't that vulnerable, and you have never learned, maybe even with your family at that time, to be fully vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I find that through long distance but also through real life, we learned how to be more vulnerable with each other, and specifically validating each other's
Mm.
emotions,
Yeah.
so that you can be also more open to share with me. And it's okay for you to share even the little things, even the little things. I
It is
think that
true.
was a
Yeah.
big one, because sometimes we were like, oh, it's long distance, like I don't want you to bother you with something that is little but still on my mind, something that you did and I'm not sure. And I feel like actually sharing even the little things,
Yeah.
please, I would tell you, like, please share even the little things, even if something made you feel uncomfortable. Let's talk about it, let's talk about it, because those little things will add up. And specifically if we cannot be together,
And
it's very
sometimes it's
important.
very little things, like, I don't know, seeing a picture on social media, or like certain text, or and I feel like if you go on the internet and like there's these videos of like 10 signs of like of a red flag in long distance relationship, these videos, that are like,
Mm,
and I feel like, yeah, it's all about communication. Like, you know it's okay if you feel certain vulnerability, if you feel some kind of jealousy because you're in long distance, and I feel like we did a really great job in allowing that person to feel those things, but also like
reassuring them.
reassuring
I think
reassuring
reassuring
them.
them is a big one.
Yeah.
It's maybe I might not understand fully, but I want you to tell me, like, tell me more, tell me more, I want to understand, tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you're feeling like this, it's valid, it's okay to feel like this, it's okay to feel jealous, it's okay to be scared, but I'm going to reassure you right now, it's totally
Yeah.
not like this. It's really, I care about you and I'm fully committed to this relationship and I want to be with you. So I'm not going to do anything with anyone, because
Yeah.
I mean, or it's very, very good friends of mine. And I will explain to you the relationship, why I'm such good friends with women sometimes, or you with men, or and it's really about, reassuring the other partner to the degree where they feel safe. They feel like, oh, I'm not crazy. They like, it's okay to feel my emotion and my partner understands it and it's okay. And also they're fully in love with me. They reassured me.
Definitely.
And now I feel more confidence because we are so far away and it's very important to reassure each other.
And feeling that way from distance, like, that's the tricky part. So imagine when you're together, it feels like, ah. I feel like if you get through that, it's like, whoa, you know?
Mm.
And I think for me, this aspect of communicating and being vulnerable and all this, it didn't only help me like with our relationship. Like, I still didn't live with my family. And I feel like before, it was kind of like I shared day to day things with them, what I ate, where I went, who I saw. And it stayed more surface level, you know? You don't get to go so deep in a relationship if you don't share your vulnerability. I mean, and I couldn't do that yet, you know, even with my own family. But then going through long distance, especially because you're someone I can trust, you know, feel comfortable being vulnerable with, I learned how to do it over the phone, which strengthened all the relationships that I
Mm.
have. Because the reality is, we have many long distance relationships,
Yeah.
and not necessarily romantic, but like our long distance relationships strengthened all of those, because I learned that I can be something so like different on the phone. It doesn't have to be so artificial, you know, or not
Mm.
artificial. I never meant to be artificial, but kind of like going a little step further.
Surface base.
Yes. Going a step further with the people I really care to do that with, like with my mom, for example. Sharing with her even when we came here to Bogota, like sharing with her not just, oh, we visited this, we saw this, but sharing with her, like, wow, I'm feeling like this is a lot for me. I cried today. Like, I told this to Kenji and this. And like, I learned that. And I think that's helped me a lot in my personal life
Mm.
in general.
Yeah, definitely. I found that beautiful.
No, it's, yeah.
And what would you say uh, anyone can implement from from what we learned in long distance relationship? Like we learned certain tools that even till this day in real life we embody and we have implemented in real life too.
So you mean like what can we bring from our long distance relationship into a relationship in real life
Yeah, exactly.
without needing the distance, let's
Yeah,
say?
because we did that for
Mm.
many things, like as we said, like validating emotions.
Yeah, because I feel like even though our long distance relationship was one of the biggest building blocks for us, I think couples in general don't need that to build the things
Yeah.
that we did.
Mm.
I think it can be very beautiful and we live that beauty. But I think you can bring, for example, like you said, validation of emotions, recognizing that your partner is sometimes at different energy level, different headspace than you, but also like just kind of feeling each other's company and being able to recognize your partner when and being able to hear them and, you know, like you said, kind of reassure them for
Mm.
certain things. Even if you're in the same space, you can do all these things.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I would say encourage them. Encourage them. That can be, you know, seen in any relationship, but specifically like a loving relationship between two partners and where it's a team. You know, it's really about encouraging each other and thriving for each other and wanting to help each other follow their dreams and
Yeah.
and really caring in the sense of like, if I see something that you're doing also that I don't think this is the best for you, I don't think this is the best for our relationship, it's very important that we share that with each other. It's very important that you share that with me, because I don't want sweet love, you know. I want you to be kind. I want you to be not nice with me. I want you to be kind with me. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth in a certain way, right? But tell me the truth so that I can improve. If you're seeing that if I go this path, I might die, then I want you to tell me. I don't want you to tell me like, it's okay if you really want to go that path, then okay, go that path. No, I want you first to try to convince me like why you think this path is dangerous for me. And I think it's very important in each relationship to share that with each other, right? And another thing that I wanted to add about long distance relationship was sharing photos, sharing videos, sharing voice messages has tremendously helped us, you
Yeah,
know.
but even like when you would text me, I feel like you would really express your thoughts in a much more thought out way
Mm,
because it's through writing.
yeah.
And I felt that, you know, with you, you were really, really good at that. I could really say that you would like kind of express your thoughts very clearly to me.
Mm,
And it would give me time to think about them.
yeah. No, definitely, because I think one of the benefits of being in a long distance relationship is that you can take the time to write your thoughts
Mm.
instead of immediately wanting to react, immediately wanting to respond in real life. Here, you can actually read the message, take the time,
Usually you
reflect.
have like 8 hours, you know,
Yeah,
until the person
wakes up.
wakes up.
Yeah,
So you have like 8 hours. You don't need to reply even right away because you have 8, 9 hours to
yeah,
reply.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
great.
and then it helps you to articulate your words in a
Yeah.
much better way. So that's beautiful because then you can share as you know with as many details as possible what
Yes.
you're feeling inside, because sometimes words are not reflecting what we're
Yeah.
really feeling, what we're thinking actually.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can take time to articulate, oh no, this is not exactly what I want to say, then say it again, and then you send it, then you're like, and then the person receives it and they're like, wow, that's really how they felt, and I can feel it that it's real, and it's so beautifully
Yes.
articulated.
But that's the thing also about long distance, this articulation of words. It's almost like with long distance, you can't sit with the silence.
Mm.
It's very difficult to create silence, which in real life,
You mean on video, like video calls,
yeah,
or like
it's kind of like when do you create that? You always are talking and telling
mm.
someone something. And
because
I feel
those
like for
you
me I miss that.
because also you don't have a lot of time.
Yes, exactly. So when you do have that little time to speak, you're not gonna,
Yeah,
enjoy each other's company in silence.
yeah.
That would be funny. But yeah, that's something I missed.
Yeah,
Really. Like I don't know, just being together.
yeah.
Like looking at each other, holding each other. It's a very different experience.
Mm.
What would you say? This is a question I just thought of. What would you say to someone that is going into a long distance relationship right now as someone who has finished and
Yeah,
learned a lot from it, I guess?
I would say begin by sharing with your partner uh, before even getting into the long distance relationship, like while you're still together, or even if you began already, like have a big conversation of like what are your values, what are your non-negotiables, where do you want to go in life, where do you see yourself, um, it's almost like, are we going in the same direction, are
Yes.
we going on, like, can we be on the same boat,
Do
or
we imagine like an end date to this long distance? Can you see a day where you will not do that anymore?
yeah, because that was so important for us. I think we didn't say, but we said like, okay, we're going to do this 1 year,
1 year and a half
maximum
max.
1 year and a half,
Yes.
but not more than that, because we can't, like, we don't think that a relationship that we want to build
Yeah.
can be built only by long distance. And I think that helped us tremendously also, knowing that there was an end date of like, okay, this is the time to invest on ourselves, and then in 1 year we can be together. And also we saw each other 3 times during that
Yeah.
long distance, because you were living in Canada, I was living in France. So for Christmas I went to Canada, then you came in March, and then actually we saw each other only 2 times during that
Then
long
you
time.
came to Vancouver.
And then I came to Vancouver, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess 2 times until it ended.
yeah, it was 2 times.
But I think something that nobody tells you, like when you begin a long distance relationship, is that you're gonna build many aspects of your relationship, and then some will not be built. Like, for example, the emotional, the communication, the all of these aspects that are kind
Oh,
of,
but communication, we did have.
yeah, but these aspects you do build. But what I mean is some aspects, like anything physical related,
Oh yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah.
in real life, then it's kind of like the relationship is a bit off in a way. It's not like when you're in real life you build everything. But I feel like it's kind of like tipped, you know?
Mm,
I don't know how to describe it. And I think you need to just be aware of that because it's okay,
yeah.
you know?
Because yeah, exactly. I think you're talking about our experience. Like, so we did 1 year long distance relationship, and then suddenly we lived together here in Bogota. Like, so that was a big shift, and that brought up also like sometimes not understanding each other. Sometimes, yeah, like having different types of energies because we're living right now
Yeah.
very,
But
you
the
know.
physical intimacy of the relationship is also not at the same level as the intellectual. That's what I was trying to express. You know, like
What
you've
do you mean?
connected so deeply on like an emotional, intellectual stand up view, but your intimacy and your physicality with each other is very different. Like you haven't built that like you haven't built that same thing that as if you would if you were in real life.
No, definitely, I agree. It's
Yeah.
different. It's different, but I think it's, for me at least, it's as beautiful.
Yeah.
As beautiful. Like it's just different parts. Um, yeah, but I think I would just add that when we were switching from long distance suddenly to being together, it
Like
was
seeing each
it's
other.
it's almost like I never lived a lifestyle with you. I never lived like for a month with you,
Yeah.
for 2 months, for 3 months, for 4 months. So it's like it's bringing new insights that I never knew about you before. I'm seeing you in different contexts
I see what you
because
mean.
before, even in Grenoble, we would see each other like once, twice a week,
Mm.
and then I go to my parents
That is
again,
very true. Yeah.
and then suddenly after a long distance relationship, it was like being together. But just wanted to come back to the advice I would give to someone to someone who's being in a long distance relationship. It's definitely share as many videos, as many photos, as many voice messages, as many calls as you can. Find the time, organize with your partner the time, and definitely be aligned, both of you, on the direction that you want to go towards. Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 months? How long can you do? What are your desires? Do you want to see each other during that time or not? Is it possible or not? Um, and definitely, as you said, be vulnerable. Listen to each other as much as you can. And yeah, and then when you get to that with that person, know that it might be a bit weird. Know that it might be struggling at times because you're suddenly with the person, and so that brings beauty, totally beauty, that you finally can touch the person, you can finally hear them in real life, you can be finally silent with them, without having to talk all the time. But it also means seeing them in different contexts that you have never seen them before, right?
Yeah.
And so that is important to have in mind.
And I remember when you came, so you were coming to Toronto to see my family for the first time in Christmas. That's another thing. You met my family
Yeah,
in a long distance format, let's
yeah,
say.
yeah.
And I remember like I came to pick you up from the airport and I was anticipating this point for how long? Like I counted down the days. It was intense. Like I really wanted to see you at that point. It had been maybe 6 months that we
Six
hadn't
months.
seen each other. And I remember like I saw you and it was like I knew you. I knew who this human is. But at the same time, it felt strange. Like I've seen you in 2D for 6 months. 2D. And then there is like
The
a
3D.
Kenji. There's a Kenji in front of me, and I'm like, whoa. Like everything just feels different. Like your senses, like they're different. You look different. Everything. So it was like such a beautiful moment.
And
I swear.
it took, I would say, a day or
It takes
two.
a day. It takes a day to be like, oh,
Yeah, to sleep
now it's
over it,
okay.
and then it's like, this person is real.
Yeah.
This person is real. I'm really here. I'm living this.
Yeah. And my friend Gwen has the same exact thing. Like she does long distance, and she tells me every time it's weird. When I see him again, it's like,
Yeah,
what is going on?
because you forgot about how
Yeah.
they taste, how they look, their height, their voice in real life, because you always hear them through the phone.
And
or
it gives
see
you
them.
like that butterfly feeling again. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
It's like meeting them for the first time again.
But at the
if
same
it's
time,
different,
not.
yeah. At the same
It's
time,
like
it's
you
very
know this
different.
person. Like
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
yeah.
it's undescribable.
It's
in words, I
undescribable.
think.
You have to.
But it's so
You have to do it.
beautiful. I swear, when I think back to it, it gives me like goosebumps. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching this episode. I hope you find a lot of value as much as we did. And I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.